guys. I gotta call you back, sorry. Have you ever wondered how you're hearing things through your ears with those devices?
No, but they're great. Yeah, I love it.
Well, I think I can help you guys with that.
Cool, let's do it.
How do they work? I'll show you.
Alright, so we're going to begin with the outer ear, also known as the pinna. We have the helix, the antihelix, and sandwiched between we have the scaphoid fossa. And then just the lobe down here, we have the tragus right here, which is a great thing to plug your ears with, way better than using your fingers. Then we have the concha, which aids in localizing sound, and the whole point of the outer ear is to really bring sounds in and funnel them into the middle ear. And it brings us to the external auditory meatus. Because of the anatomy of the pinna, it's much more efficient at delivering high frequency sounds than low frequency sounds, which is why they're easier to hear.
From the pinna, we go into the external auditory canal, which is 1/3 cartilaginous and 2/3 bony on the medial side. It secretes cerumen, which is earwax, which protects the middle ear from things like magic school buses. From the external auditory canal, we go to the tympanic membrane, which has 3 layers: lateral, center, and medial. The lateral layer is made up of skin, just like the outer ear. The center layer is tough and fibrous, made up of connective tissue, which contributes to for aiding the tympanic membrane in vibration for sound. And the medial layer is a mucous membrane, just like the middle ear. The tympanic membrane vibrates against the ossicles of the ear, which are the malleus, incus, and stapes.
The inward and outward movement of the umbo on the tympanic membrane causes the malleus and incus to rotate, thus transferring this force to the stapes, which results in the inward-outward motion of the oval window. It's this action of the ossicles that provides the energy transformation for which the middle ear is designed. Surrounding the ossicles in the middle ear, there is the tympanic cavity, which has 3 levels. But we're only going to focus on the 2 main sections, which are the epitympanic recess and the tympanic cavity. The shape is almost oval and filled with air space. This allows the middle ear to carry sound waves from the air-filled external auditory canal to the fluid-filled inner ear. The tympanic cavity is considered to be bounded by 6 walls of the middle ear. You can almost consider it like a box. Here are the 6 walls of the middle ear. Facing the inner ear, the medial wall is vertical and has the oval and round window, promontory, and the prominence of the facial canal. Facing the outer ear, the lateral wall is formed mainly by the tympanic membrane. The roof of the cavity is formed by a thin plate called the tegmen tympani, which separates the cranial and tympanic cavities. The floor of the cavity is narrow and consists of a thin plate of bone which separates the tympanic cavity from the jugular fossa. The posterior wall is wider above than below, and presents the adytus and the pyramidal eminence. Lastly, the anterior wall corresponds with the carotid canal and the eustachian tube. The eustachian tube is closed under normal circumstances, but it can open to let a small amount of air through to prevent damage by equalizing pressure between the middle ear and the atmosphere.
The oval window on the medial wall is a separation between the middle ear and the inner ear. Entering into the inner ear is the vestibule, which is the balance section. The vestibule contains 2 membranous sacs called the utricle and the saccule. To give us a better close-up look, we're going to go to this one. So we have the utricle and the saccule. Arising from the utricle are the semicircular canals, which are going to be these right here, which are also membranous. Each of these 3 canals returns to the utricle through enlarged areas called the ampullae, which are these bulges right here. The ampullae contains an end organ known as crista.
Beyond the vestibule, there's the cochlea. The cochlea curls about 2.5 turns and looks identical to a seashell. Inside the cochlea lays the scala vestibuli, named for its proximity to the vestibule. On the bottom of the cochlea is the scala tympani. Both canals contain perilymph, which is continuous through a small passageway of the apex of the cochlea called the helicotrema, which is right here. Between the two canals lies the scala media. This third canal is filled with endolymph. The spiral ligament supports the scala media, and also the stria vascularis produces endolymph and supplies oxygen and other nutrients to the cochlea. It is separated from the scala vestibuli by Reisner's membrane, and from the scala tympani by the basilar membrane.
Another important landmark on the cochlea is the organ of Corti, which is the in organ for hearing. It resides on the basilar membrane. The basilar membrane contains 3 to 5 rows of 12,000 to 15,000 outer hair cells and 1 row of 3,500 inner hair cells. The outer hair cells are responsible for sharpening the fluid wave within the cochlea. The base of the membrane is very narrow and thick and is more stimulated by higher frequencies. The apex is thin but wider and more stimulated by lower frequencies.
When the oval window is moved in by the stapes, the annular ligament around the foot plate stretches and displaces the perilymph at the basal end of the cochlea, making a wave form towards the apex of the cochlea. The sound vibrations are introduced into the basilar membrane, resulting in the release of the round window membrane. The oval window and round window are out of phase, so when one is pushed inward, the other must move outward. There are stereocilia on the tips of the outer hair cells embedded in the tectorial membrane that move when the basilar membrane moves up and down in response to fluid displacement caused by the in and out movement of the stapes.
When the head is moved, the fluids in the vestibule tend to lag behind because of their inertia. In this way, the fluids are set into motion, which stimulates the vestibular mechanism. The semicircular canals are receptors for angular acceleration. Here are some examples. On top of the utricle and saccule, there are maculae. The utriculosaccular mechanism is responsible for interpreting linear acceleration, such as being pushed in a chair or riding an elevator.
As seen in this video, sound waves are captured by the outer ear and move through the middle ear into the cochlea. The pressure waves from the cochlea are sent into the neural activity to be processed by the central auditory system.
See guys, there's a lot about the ears you didn't know.
Ears are fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot that they can actually do.
Thanks.